The man coaxes his stubborn buffalo. An isolated floating homestead rests on a tranquil lake. The man sleeps peacefully inside his bamboo room. Wrapped in his camouflage blanket, the man rests before another grueling day. Joy the dog approaches the cat on the deck. The playful companion animals share a slightly tense moment in their beautiful, isolated lake paradise. The loyal dog, Joy, looks out across the vast, misty lake. The black dog gently nudges the tricolor cat once more on deck. The man steps outside, greeting the fresh morning air. Standing tall on the wooden stairs, the man slowly surveys the sprawling, misty wilderness that he calls home. He walks onto the main deck to grab his green utility jacket. Putting on his jacket, he prepares for the trail ahead. He walks across the platform to tend his gardens. Carefully checking his green plants, the man ensures his self-sufficient food supply remains healthy. Descending slowly to the edge of his bamboo raft, the man dips a bowl into the water as surrounding ducks and pigeons gather, eager for their morning feed. Dozens of white pigeons flutter down from the sky, landing right beside his feet. In this peaceful lake haven, man and nature coexist in perfect harmony.
Hey!
Joy bounds over, excitedly jumping up to greet his master. Beneath the calm water surface, several large gray fish swim peacefully through a submerged bamboo enclosure. This highly ingenious, hand-built aquatic structure keeps his harvest completely secure. With Joy resting quietly on the deck, the floating homestead stands strong against the backdrop of the moody, overcast sky. The man carefully prepares his heavy wooden oars, gearing up for an essential morning journey. Joy the dog leaps eagerly into the bow of the rowboat, ready to accompany him across the misty lake. He begins to row away from the floating platform with steady strokes. The boat glides further into the quiet lake, heading directly toward the high mountains. Two massive water buffaloes swim in the lake near the shore, while Joy barks excitedly from the front of his boat. They slowly approach the bank as the massive animals herd toward the safety of the muddy shore. He stands to guide a buffalo inland while Joy leaps ashore. Leaving his animals safely on the bank, the man rows his boat back out into the open water to resume his solitary mission. He rows across the vast lake. Thick, low mist hangs heavily over the quiet mountain waters. The man coaxes the buffalo again. The stubborn beast completely resists his insistent commands. Joy the dog jumps up to lead. The man watches closely. The stubborn buffalo retreats further up the muddy bank. The stubborn buffalo stands completely alone on the shoreline, watching the boat disappear into the dense, heavy fog. The small boat slowly navigates across the open lake, passing small conical islands along the way. Gliding smoothly through the glassy water, they leave a gentle wake behind. Joy leaps ashore first as the boat touches the muddy bank. The man securely ties his craft and prepares to hike deep into the dense forest. Climbing a rugged, gravelly forest path, the man heads toward his hand-built wooden cabin nestled high up in the trees. From the quiet forest cabin, his wooden boat is visible far below. Armed with his heavy knife, the man slowly walks toward the wooden cabin. The man stands by the cabin and looks around the forest. He then walks away from the cabin further into the woods. The man and Joy walk away from the cabin and disappear into the trees. The man slowly hikes up a very steep, leafy trail under the thick cover of ancient forest trees. He climbs up the steep, leafy slope, pulling himself forward through a sea of large green ferns. Joy the dog is investigating a crevice in a mossy rock wall. He is panting and looks excited. Reaching a stand of straight, thin forest timber, the man carefully selects a tree and taps on it. He clears away some vines and thin branches from the chosen tree with his knife. Countless wood chips fly in all directions as the man chops forcefully into the base of the selected tree with a highly consistent, powerful rhythm. Stopping briefly to adjust his footing on the slippery trail, the man immediately resumes chopping with renewed effort, focusing his entire physical energy on felling the thick timber. Striking the tree forcefully, the man leans his entire body weight into the task, showing intense physical exertion on the forest path. As more wood is removed, the man delivers highly precise strikes, aiming carefully at a specific notch to control where the tall tree will crash. The man delivers the final blows. The tree starts to tilt significantly. Delivering the final, powerful blows, the man watches closely as the tall timber cracks and begins to tilt significantly toward the forest slope below. Joy the dog runs excitedly down through the green ferns, following the exact path of the crashed timber. The man follows Joy down the hill, disappearing from view into the thick vegetation. The dense forest floor is completely covered in wild green ferns and massive ancient trees. The man laboriously pushes the heavy timber. He uses a long pole to guide the heavy log down. Carrying a long timber pole over his shoulder, the man steps out into a clearer forest path. A medium shot of the man as he walks past. He is breathing heavily from the exertion but maintains a steady pace, looking ahead. He walks steadily away, disappearing down the quiet forest trail with his heavy load. Joy the black dog runs excitedly across the dry, leaf-covered ground near the house. The man walks across the clearing, balancing the long pole on his shoulder. Reaching the yard, he drops the heavy timber onto the ground before heading back for another load. Returning with another pole, the man drops it directly onto the growing pile. He brings yet another heavy wooden pole and stacks it neatly on his pile. The man heads back to the forest, with his dog Joy watching his steady movements nearby. Picking up a pole, he walks down a leaf-strewn path toward the water as Joy runs ahead. He walks down the slope, carrying the long pole to a rocky lakeside staging area before dropping it. The man walks back up the slope to retrieve another pole, passing several trees. The camera follows his movement away from the lake. He carries another long pole down to the beautiful, serene lake overlook. He carefully positions and drops the heavy pole alongside his other timber. Returning to the clearing, the man lifts another long timber pole onto his shoulder. The man carefully steps over rocks and branches as he moves the long pole. He is heading toward a flatter, muddy section of the shore. The man drops the timber pole near his boat. He brings the branch to his main pile, ready to begin construction. Kneeling by the water, he begins tying the logs together with vines. The man secures each joint carefully, pulling the natural vine bindings tight to ensure strength. Wading into the shallow water, he pulls another pole into his raft. He uses his own body weight to steady the floating structure as he works. The man pulls another pole into place. He is working in knee-deep water now, splashing as he moves around the raft. The man looks over his work, tightening one last vine. He pauses briefly, surveying the nearly completed raft. He carefully positions several thin vertical poles, creating a fence-like structure. He uses long vines to secure each one in place. With absolute concentration, the man continues to secure his new raft as the sun begins to set. He stands up, pulls the rope, and begins to guide the boat closer to the rocky shore. He calls out to someone off camera and continues fiddling with the equipment on the shore near the boat. The man urges the dog to move further into the boat. He steps on and pushes off from the shore. A wide shot shows the small boat moving across the vast lake, with a raft of bamboo poles being towed behind it. As the camera angle changes to a side view, the man maintains a highly consistent, powerful rowing pace, towing his heavy bamboo platform cargo safely home.